Badass is a word that I believe has lost its true meaning. What we have now is a watered down version of the original. Yes, we're living in a time where somebody fighting somebody else in cool looking animation is considered to be badass. Well, newsflash folks, it's not. Hello my filthy weebs, it's your friendly neighborhood degenerate Kaishi, and I'm back with another video to remind the world what badass truly means. Here's top 10 anime moments that showcase ultimate badassery. Number 10, the Mister. Don't forget the Mister. Akira is one of the best films ever made, animation or otherwise, period. Needless to say, I love it. And one of the reasons I love it is its amazing characters. Kaneda is one extra cool son of a bitch. He's got the look, he's got the attitude, and he's got the sweet, sweet cyber bite. His most badass moment is also the most subtle one. Tell me something, what would you do if your friend and gang member, who's low-key jealous of you and hates your guts, suddenly got telekinetic superpowers and went all power-crazy Superman complex? I'll tell you what you wouldn't do. Go and tell him who's boss. But that's exactly what Kaneda does. Get this, he just walks up to him, armed with nothing but a Chinese knockoff laser gun, and tells his psychic psycho friend, who's low-key jealous of him and hates his guts by the way, to basically go fuck himself. When Tetsuo gets angry, he tells him to show respect and call him Kaneda-san. Or, as we all know the iconic line, "That's Mr. Kaneda to you, punk!" Number 9, they see me rolling, they hatin'. You know, Naruto has a lot of badass characters and awesome fight scenes, and that's what many people often talk about, which is cool and all. I mean, don't get me wrong, these scenes are amazing and really, really well done. But in the humble opinion of this lowly weeb, nothing says badass like Naruto rolling into town after mastering Sage Mode in Mount Myoboku. So Pain, being a pain in the butt, destroys most of Konoha in a single attack. When all hope seems lost, poof appears Naruto smack in the middle of the destruction. Already in Sage Mode, wearing the dopest threads ever, with Ma standing on top of Gamakichi, who's standing on top of Gamabunta, who has 2 other gigantic toads standing behind him. Boy oh boy, gives me shivers every single time. And on top of that, he one punches one of Pain's bodies to save Tsunade. Just like that. Now if this isn't badass, I don't know what is. Number 8, Saeko. I have a confession to make. I love High School of the Dead. It's my guilty pleasure. I believe it's one of the best anime ever made. I love the premise, I love the characters, I love the execution, I love the animation, I love that it's cheesy and campy to the bone, and I love the gratuitous and way over the top fan service. And I love Saeko busujima. Crazy hot, crazy strong, and just crazy. You know, there's something about a woman who stands on the roof of a Humvee, wielding a sword and wearing nothing but an apron, ready to cut some zombies that you just can't resist. Oh, I know what that is. It's called being a badass. Please have my babies. Number 7, Color Me Blood. I'm sure you would know that Garou is the closest thing we have to a protagonist in One Punch Man. Ever since his appearance in season 2, he's been fighting constantly, round after round after round. And when he's all banged up from all the fighting, a bunch of A-class heroes show up. When he finally defeats them, another hero shows up, the demon cyborg himself. Now at this point, Garou is way beyond his limit, but he still puts up one hell of a fight. And Genos doesn't really take him seriously, so how does he show his resolve? He dyes his hair with his own blood. What? Jesus Christ, is this guy for real? Man, this is beyond awesome. Now, the anime does not show it very well, unfortunately, so I refer you to the manga, or better yet, this fan animation from my man Delongu. Link to the video in the description, just head on over there and let them know who sent ya. I could really use some publicity, folks. Number 6, the death stare. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I love anime. Quite a few of them I absolutely adore, and there are only a handful that I respect. Hunter x Hunter is one of them. In the brilliant and damn near perfect Chimera Ant arc, Youpi, one of the king's elite guard, suddenly discovers a new ability. When he gets angry, he explodes. As if he wasn't OP already. Even Knuckle is scared of fighting him one-on-one. But Killua, man, Killua just walks up to him, all slow-like, to an opponent who he knows is way out of his league, and tells him that he's just gonna blow off some steam. Are you kidding me? Oh lord, that takes some huge cojones, bro. And that stare, boy, that stare, enough to petrify a grown man. Jesus H. Christ. Bottom line, Killua is awesome.
悪いけど、これからあんたにすること、全部ただの八つ当たりだから。
Number 5, earning the keep. Morgiana is one of the most interesting characters in all of Magiverse. She's been a slave ever since she was a child, and even after being freed, she doesn't really believe herself to be completely free. Like Alibaba puts it, she still has invisible chains on her. Maybe it's because she has PTSD, or because she believes she hasn't earned her freedom herself. I mean, she is a proud finalist after all. Or perhaps after a lifetime of slavery, she just can't get around the fact that she's finally free. Either way, she needs some closure. On her way home, she joins a caravan and makes a lot of new friends, like this lolly. Isn't she cute? Anyway, the caravan is attacked by slave traders, and many, including Morgiana, are captured. That's when the lolly comes down with a fever. When she doesn't get better, this a-hole orders her to be fed to hyenas. I mean, if you can even call those things hyenas. Morgiana, who is in chains again, can do nothing but watch, because those chains are virtually unbreakable until she breaks them. She finally accepts that she's a free woman, a strong and proud finalist. She overcomes her own demons, demons that have haunted her all her life, and in doing so, earns her freedom. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty badass. And that's not all, boys, because then she literally scares the hyena away. And not only that, she then fights a bunch of tigers, if you can even call those things tigers, barehanded. And believe it or not, from this point on, she gets even more awesome.
私はファナリス。大陸の覇者、最強の戦闘民族。私はもう奴隷ではありません。
Number 4. All hail the king. Remember when I said there are a very few anime that have earned my respect? Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, totally one of them. And of course I'm talking about Führer King Bradley here, when they expect him to enter his own palace through the back door by making a complete mockery of himself. But that's not even half of what he does to them. They have a tank guarding the gate, and when the Führer attacks, it runs away. And if a tank runs away from you, you automatically know you're a badass. But that's not enough for the king, baby. He just runs after it like, guess who brought a sword to a tank fight? What follows is a minute and a half of pure awesomeness. Bullet dodging, bombshell cutting, bodies ripping awesomeness.
Did we hit him?
Number 3. Guts. If you look up the definition of the word badass, what would you see? A picture of guts? Well, no. You'll see the definition of the word badass. Guts, however, is the living embodiment of that definition. Seriously, at this point, they might as well replace it with the picture. To be quite honest, I could not single out a particular instance to show how much of a badass Guts is, because it would be a gross injustice to all the other instances I did not pick. So instead, I opted to go with the continuous struggle he has every night. Every night, since he was branded as sacrifice in the eclipse, all sorts of monstrosities come out at night to hunt Guts and claim his soul. And Guts, being the incredibly awesomely majestic badass that he is, fights them all through the night. All night, every night. Just imagine, not only not being able to sleep, but to have to fight hordes of monsters constantly. And on top of that, he has to find time to travel. Sometimes he does at night while fighting, and sometimes during the day when he's not sleeping. The brand essentially pushed him into a nocturnal lifestyle. At one point he even says it's been days since he saw sunlight. Imagine not breaking apart mentally and physically, especially after everything he's already been through. It's only when Shirke draws a protective seal over the brand of sacrifice that Guts is finally able to get his beauty sleep. And all jokes aside, he really does need that. I mean, thank God for magic lollies, right?
こいつが奴らを呼び寄せるんだ。出てくるな。
Number 2. Absolute MADLAD. When I was making this list, the inclusion of an Attack on Titan scene was not only obvious but also inevitable, because it has a lot of badass characters and they have a lot of badass scenes. So the question was, which one? The first one that popped in my mind was, unsurprisingly enough, Levi doling out some well-deserved punishment to the Beast Titan. This scene is super badass. But then again, Levi is always super badass no matter what he does. He wakes up a badass, he does housework a badass, he drinks tea a badass. In fact, he can easily fill up all 10 spots on this list, so I guess it kinda defeats the purpose. Besides, everybody talks about this scene, so yeah, I gotta look for something else. Like Mikasa. Now we're talking. She's got some nice badass scenes, like this one, or this one, or this one. So when I was busy making my choice, another scene unexpectedly sprung up in my prefrontal cortex. That's the thinky part of your brain. And I realized that the character in question doesn't get a lot of credit for being a badass, even though he is pretty badass. And the scene in question doesn't get talked about nearly enough because of the unexpected reveal of an important plot point immediately afterwards. Now obviously, I'm talking about Eren, and the scene in question is when he straight up punches a goddamn Titan. No, not this one. This one, when he can't even transform. What an absolute mad lad. Half of it is bravery, half of it is stupidity, and all of it is ultra motherfucking badassery. I also love this scene because it has so many parallels to the previous scenes. Specifically this one, when Eren unleashes this monstrosity on the face of God's earth.
そんなもん何度でも巻いてやる。これからもずっと俺が何度でも。
And finally, at number 1, 'tis but a scratch. Look, I don't need to tell you that One Piece has a lot of badass moments. I also don't need to tell you that you can pick any one of those moments and it'll fit right here on this spot like a glove. But there is one thing that I do need to tell you. You see, if there's one thing I've learned in life, it's that it takes a badass to whoop someone's ass in the most majestic of ways. But it takes an ultra super badass to willingly take a hit. And that's why this scene is at number 1 spot, and it rightfully deserves it. After defeating Gecko Moria and his army of zombies, Luffy and the gang finally take a break. Luffy is so beat that he passes out immediately. But then who shows up but the man with the dopest name, Bartholomew Kuma. Now seeing that the crew is already completely beat up, he doesn't fight them, but in exchange for leaving them alone, he tells Zoro to take all the pain and exhaustion that Luffy had accumulated during the battle, which was days as far as I can remember. He gives him a little taste, and this is what happens. Jesus. But Zoro once again proves that he's an ultra super badass and jumps right into the thing. When Sanji finds him, he's standing literally in a pool of his own blood. When he asks him what happened, he goes like, no, nothing.
おい、生きてんのか？あいつはどこだ？ここで何があった？何もなかった。
Alright, there you have it. Top 10 badass moments in anime. And if you don't see your favorite scene, no need to get butthurt. It's either gonna be in a future video or your taste is shit. Leave a like, hit subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Share this video, spread it all over the internet. I really need that. Well, that's it from me for today, folks. Stay awesome, and I'll see you all in the next one.